Time for another episode of Day Drinking and Tarot. I'm Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive, and today we are at Raw Sushi Bar and Grill. And let's do a little day drinking, talk a little tarot and some transformation. Come join me. So today I was supposed to meet a friend at a really cool wine bar called The Living Room. I've been to one in Chandler, but this is a different one in the Phoenix area. And as luck would have it, we didn't realize that it didn't open until 3 o'clock. And so I've got an hour to kill. So there was a restaurant open right next door. It's this wonderful sushi place called Raw. And here we are. And I thought, you know, this is very fitting for the card that we are talking about today, and we are discussing the Strength card. And the Strength card is all about heart, love, compassion, the inner strength that we all have within us that sometimes is a little more challenging to access, and it's about ego. And so I feel like everything that I wanted to talk about today with this particular card and ego makes a lot of sense with this adaptability and this little bit of a shift that I had to do at the last minute. So, of course, the fabulous bartendress was a little camera shy, so she wasn't willing to come on and talk about the wine that she chose for me today. But it is Freak Show, and it is a Cabernet Sauvignon. And, you know, for those of you who have been following me for a while, you know that this is my happy place. A cab is my happy place. And I didn't tell her to pick a cab for me. I told her about what the Strength card was all about. And as soon as I said ego, she was like, oh yeah, you got to go with this particular cab. So let's take a sip and see what Freak Show has in store for us and what ego actually tastes like, as well as the heart and the compassion and the inner strength. Okay, so it's got some fruity tones to it, which I think is definitely, I want to say, a great description for ego, because ego can often be the squeaky wheel that gets the grease. It's loud, it makes its presence known, but often it tries to be a little sweet because it's trying to manipulate, it's trying to get its own way. And that's definitely what I'm feeling here with this particular cab. There's also a little bit of a, I want to say, a spice and a little bite, a little peppery bite to it. And that is also very ego focused and ego based. If you know anything about cooking and spices, yes, pepper adds to the flavor of something, but it also can bring out the flavor of something, and it brings out the flavor of sweetness. And I believe that that in many ways is what this Strength card can do. So let me just talk a little bit about the actual Rider-Waite-Smith version of the Strength card a little bit, and then we're going to get into what I really want to talk about today in terms of this card and transformation. So we see here in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith tarot that you've got this beautiful woman. In this depiction, she looks a little angelic. She's got an infinity sign over her head, implying that there is, I want to say, a soul energy here, a soul component to what is going on and going through. And she's with a lion, and the lion is the king of the world, right? Top of the food chain. Nothing gets a lion except a lion, another lion, or of course human, because, you know, we're just that way. But it's basically holds its own. And she has found a way to make friends and make peace with that ferocious beast. And she's putting her hand in the mouth of the lion. And it shows that even when you have extreme circumstances around you, you can, I want to say, find a way to tame the beast. And that is taming the beast within and taming the beast without. raw and real about the Strength card. And I'm choosing today to really focus on the egoic aspect of this particular card, because I feel that we are all in a particular period of time where we are adjusting the ego. We are bringing the ego back into balance or back into alignment. And that is different for every single person. Some people are very like, ego is in ultimate cosmic power and I'm awesome. And other people are, I want to say, not enough of the ego and the self-confidence, and they feel stuck. They feel like they don't know how to move forward, or they don't feel connected to their identity. Who am I? Who am I becoming? Who do I want to be? And this is really important in, I want to say, the energy and the frequency that we are in when we're talking about transformation. For many, many years, I would dare to say centuries, we have been, as a society, as a human collective, very focused on the ego, driven by the baser needs, driven by the materialism that is here on the planet. We have been very forward driven, I would say, very much in that divine masculine energy with less of the divine feminine. And of course, we need both the divine masculine and feminine together to reach our truest, fullest potential. When we are too much one way or the other, too much in the extremes, then we run into issues. And ego, when out of balance, can definitely get a little more into that masculine energy, the drive, the push, the force, the I'm not going to listen to anything, I know better than you, let's go do this. And I feel like what we are having to learn today in a new way, and maybe in a way that we have not had to do in a really long time, is understanding that we need ego. This isn't about killing off the ego for good and banishing the ego and being ego-less. We need the ego. The ego gives us the opportunity to enact those inspirations that we get. It's our courage. It is our bravery. It is the opportunity that we always have availability to it, but it takes choice. It takes active intuition, active intention to step forward and make that option. But as with anything, when we are too out of balance with something, when we are too in the extreme of a particular viewpoint or way of doing things, we lose sight of perspective. We lose sight of our journey. We lose sight of the point. And so we are now in a particular period of time where I like to say we get to repurpose the ego. The ego is designed to keep us safe. It is here to give us courage, to give us support, to give us strength, to try new things, to grow, to express ourselves externally out in the world through the ideas that we get. But it is also very much about wanting to keep us safe. And through, whether it's traumatic experiences that we've had, through situations that didn't turn out the way we thought they were going to turn out, we can develop a lot of fear, and that fear can get overblown. That fear can stop us from moving forward. That fear can maybe cause us to move forward impulsively, doing things that are not safe, taking risk, but without the calculated risk component of it. This card also encourages discernment around the ego. The ego voice is the soft whisper, the gentle nudge, the intuitive knowing. And it's that drop of inspiration that comes into your mind. The ego is the voice that suddenly goes, oh, wait a second, you can't do that. Who do you think you are? Or don't you remember when you did that last time? It was a complete disaster. You got hurt. Don't do that. Stop. Wait. And it's not that the ego is trying to cause you harm. It's not trying to stop you from living your life. It thinks it's doing the right thing by keeping you safe, by saying, hey, don't grow. Don't go into those mysterious places. Don't go into those spaces where you don't know what's going to happen, what's going to come up, and what's going to come through. Instead, we are in a position, in a space right now, to be able to repurpose the ego. And this is where I like to also talk about with the strength card. It's inner strength, but it's also the inner child. And a lot of readers will read the sun card as the inner child. I don't see it that way. This strength card, it takes strength to go and talk to your inner child. It takes strength to do the shadow work. It takes strength to really look at yourself in the mirror and love yourself, warts and all. And I feel like what's happening right now, kind of systemically, across the globe, across humanity, we are being faced with these incredible opportunities to be able to go where we've never been before, to grow and expand as people, to do things that we only dreamed of. Well, now the sky's the limit and everything is available. It's up to you to choose it. But the ego, when unchecked, when left unbalanced, is always going to say, wait, no, stop. Danger, danger, danger. But that's not actually true. The ego voice cannot discern between the pain of ripping a Band-Aid off the arm and having your entire arm amputated. So it shows up with a 5-alarm fire, no matter what the situation and circumstance. And it activates your feeling space. It activates those feels. And if you've been watching me, you know feelings are neither true nor false. They simply are. It's what we choose to do with them and how we choose to react or respond to them that really matters. And that's where this inner child, strength, ego is coming up. You have the opportunity to be able to say, all right, ego, all right, inner child, there's an aspect of me through you that is showing up and saying, I'm scared. I'm still wounded. I'm not sure about this. Can you give me some encouragement? Can you give me a confidence boost? Can you empower me to say, it's all right to step into the mystery. It's all right to do things that we don't know from point A to point, G, how everything's going to turn out. It's not about perfection. It's not about getting it right. It's more about growing into the experience, using discernment between that inner guidance and the ego voice to be able to say, okay, ego, inner child, you're freaking out about this. And I'm going to say to you lovingly, here's a lollipop and a coloring book, sit in the corner, occupy yourself, and just observe. Because we may have been hurt in the past. We may have had situations that didn't turn out the way we thought they were going to turn out. But that doesn't mean that we haven't learned, we haven't applied the wisdom from those experiences. And me, as the adult or as the more experienced one, the wiser one, I get to say to you, sit and observe. Watch how this is going to change our lives. Watch how our new, fresh experience, our learning, our adventure is going to change us for the better. We don't know what we don't know until we know it. And when we know better, we do better. And that's what the strength card is speaking to us about. It's balancing the ego. And through that balancing, giving us the courage to step forward and to say, I'm ready for this new adventure. And inner child, ego, come along for the ride. Because you get to grow too, and it doesn't have to be scary. This doesn't have to turn out bad. This is a calculated risk, and I've got it. I've got this, and I've got you. Let's do this together. Is my take on the strength card. And that is, I want to say, I'm going to be honest with you. This is a card that I have had a love-hate relationship with for a really long time. It took me a long time to really come to terms with what this would mean for me. And it pops up every so often. And I roll my eyes because I'm like, oh my God, is it more inner child work? Is it, I'm tired of being super strong. I'm tired of having to always lean on my inner strength to get through this thing called life. And what I've learned from it now is it's actually a loving message. from my guides, from my ego space, but also from my intuition, and quite frankly, from my soul that says, hey, you've got this. We are, remember, tweaking the ego process. We're bringing ego along for the ride, but ego can't come with us in the way that it has been before. We can't do this thing with a whole lot of fear holding us back because we never grow. We've got to bring the ego along with us, but we've also got to let the ego know that it's safe. It's safe to expand and grow in these ways. So that is our day drinking and tarot for this segment. And I hope you enjoyed the strength card. Like I said, it's been a love-hate relationship for me with the strength card. And today, I'm definitely feeling just nothing but love, because this strength card always lets me know that I'm growing, I'm evolving, I'm expanding, and I'm doing it on my own terms. And yeah, there might be some pain involved, but I don't have to cut off and cut out a portion of myself in order to do this. It's about integration, and it's integration with truth, honesty, and love, and with developing a really deep, connected relationship with the inner child or the inner lion within me, so that I become whole, we are always whole, so that I feel the wholeness and I feel connected to my core self, my core space, and that I have confidence in moving forward and living the life that I'm choosing to live. So I ask you today, where in your life is your inner child maybe still wounded and crying out for a little bit of help and a little bit of support? Where in your life are you feeling a bit stuck? Where in your life are you feeling a bit like the fear always gets in the way and I really could use a little courage? This is the card that's going to give you some food for thought around that, as well as a lot of support. Dun dun dun! It's the death card! And guess what? Spoiler alert, when the death card comes up, no, it doesn't mean you're gonna die. No, it doesn't mean necessarily that someone in your life is gonna die. What it really symbolizes is change. So, just because someone is a psychic doesn't necessarily mean that they are a medium that wants to talk to your Aunt Tessie and your Uncle Bob. This is a huge myth out there. I can talk to your loved ones in spirit, but it's not my main forte. It's not my main mode of receiving. I tend to be a medium for the archangels, the ascended masters, for your spirit guides, for those higher guides out in the world. So for this segment, I'm excited to be myth busting some metaphysical falsehoods. And of course, I have my trusty cohort, Keone. Keone, how are you?
I am doing fabuloso.
Oh, I love to hear that. Let's do some myth busting. I'm ready to do some breakthroughs, like smashing through all of the I want to say the limiting beliefs, and limiting beliefs are connected to the Hierophant in the tarot. So let's do some Hierophant work and break through some limiting beliefs. What you got for me?
Well, let's softball the first one in. You have to be a psychic to read tarot.
What? That's a myth out there? That's something that people believe?
Yes, that you have to be
Okay.
psychic. Tarot is only done by psychic. If you're someone who just picked up a deck of tarot cards, tarot cards. You're just talking nonsense because you're not a psychic.
Okay. So the system of divination that is tarot is exactly that. Tarot started, I don't know how many centuries ago, as a game. And it was a card game. It wasn't even designed to be sort of fortune telling. And somewhere in the, sort of the process of its journey, it became that because people started to notice that it was becoming a little more prophetic, or that it was speaking their life through the cards. But there's an actual system. So with tarot, and and I don't know if I've ever shared this story. I feel like I have shared this story in the past, but just to sort of nuts and bolts it, I was always drawn to the tarot. But every time I tried to learn the tarot, I would left brain it, and I would go into this like crazy sort of memorize every card kind of thing. And I remember the first time that I showed with a brand new mentor, and I was like on my journey, and this was like, I was getting ready to hang the shingle on the door, and I was like, I've taken tarot classes before, and never been successful at it. This is going to be the one. And so I had shown her, I brought my Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck with me, and it had all of these little yellow post-it notes with the tiniest of writing for all of the word descriptions on it. I was trying to memorize it, and I had recorded things, and I was listening to it as I was sleeping to try and, understand these 78 decks and like all the different meanings. And she took one look at it. Like, she kind of went through it, and you could see her face, and she's like, "So how's that working out for you?" And I was like, "I don't understand this. I don't get it. I'm so overwhelmed." And she's like, "Okay, let's put it to the side. Put that to the side. We're going to pick a different deck, one that you've never seen before, and we're going to explore the stories that are depicted on the deck." So I needed to access my intuition in order to be able to connect to the system of tarot. Not every tarot reader needs to do that. There are tarot readers that have studied each of the exact meanings of the cards, and they understand and know the system of tarot. They've done the memorization work, and then they've sort of extrapolated upon that and used their intuition to get the information. But there's a distinction here. I don't call myself a tarot reader. I call myself a psychic intuitive who uses tarot as a tool. But there are other people out there that call themselves tarot readers. Those are the ones that understand the system of tarot. So, no, you don't have to be psychic to read tarot. And in fact, if you use my example, I am a psychic. I was psychic back then. I'm psychic now. And I had to completely approach the system of tarot not as a system. And I had to come at it from that intuitive and interpretive space first. And then the system of divination came to me. Then I was able to wrap my head around the actual system of it. So yeah, you don't need to be psychic to get information from those cards.
Here we go. Uh-oh, this one's gonna get you, Stacy. Tarot cards will fly out of the deck when spirits are really serious. Now I'm scared because you have those things pop out all the time. I don't know what's
I
going to happen.
do. I do. Okay. So, you have a number of readers that say, "I won't read anything that pops out of the deck. I don't consider that, a message," or, and then you've got other tarot readers who are like, "Oh, that's a jumper, so I need to pay attention to that." I happen to fall into the, "Oh, that's a jumper" category. Like, for me, the way that I connect with the cards, I look for a card that where like a single card is sort of sticking out, or if something falls or flips over, not a pile of them, just one, a single card that pops out and flips over. Yeah, I'm going to read that, because I do see that. That's how I connect with my team, with my guides, my dream team, is I'm like, okay, make it super obvious to me. But is that the right way or the only way? No, not at all. And if you don't identify with that, then no. If a pile of cards falls out, that doesn't necessarily mean that your guides are trying to point something out to you, unless your eye is drawn to something in particular. Sometimes it can mean you just did a bad shuffle job. So yeah, it just depends on, I want to say, how you connect with your deck.
And oh, this is one that almost falls in the place of religion. Tarot should replace therapy or medical advice.
Oh, hell no. Tarot is a tool like all other things. Psychic guidance is a tool, intuition is a tool. Um, Books are a tool to help you access and connect with your inner core, what your truth is. Tarot is not designed to replace therapy, but I will say to you, back in the day when I was really going through a dark night of the soul, I was working with a coach, a life coach. And it was actually right at the time when life coaching was just first new. And I didn't even understand what the hell a life coach was. But I connected with this person and I was, talking about things. And it was a great sounding board. And she would pull out angel cards. And she would ask, would you like some angel cards? And I'm like, hell yes, I'll take some angel cards. And those angel cards would enhance or validate the work or the messaging that we did. And because I gravitated to that, that was just a confirmation that I was on the right path. But, if I was having some real mental stuff, you need to, you don't want to bring, what do they say? You don't want to bring a gun to a knife fight, right? Like, or you don't want to bring a knife to a gunfight. However, the phrase is, you want to pick the right tool for the right job. Therapy is therapy and it has its place. Coaching is coaching and it has its place. Tarot, I would say, is one more tool that you can use to access and enhance so that you get a well-rounded picture, direction, guidance as you're moving through something. But yeah, no, I mean, why do you think so many readers say for entertainment purposes only? Because it's not an exact science and it's going to be different for everyone. And tarot isn't there to tell you how to live your life. Tarot is there to open your mind to the potentials and the possibilities of what is available for you on your path.
Okay, for my last question, we get to pull from the serious pile or the funny pile.
Oh, let's do funny. We need some more funniness in our
All right.
today.
If you pull Three of Swords, it's time to cancel your plans and cry in the bathtub.
Oh, so Three of Swords, yes, it's a card of heartbreak. It often indicates that there's a wounding, but the Three of Swords is also very much a card of healing, and it's a card that indicates self-care. It's time to do some self-care and some self-love, and perhaps to kind of get the fark out of your head a little bit. So, I mean, it's when you pull the Three of Swords, unless you are in that state where you are, crying and very upset and, just like looking for comfort and guidance, I would say to you, the card isn't telling you to go cry in the bathroom. The card is acknowledging that maybe you might need to practice a little self-care and maybe just kind of pull back that day or not go out that day or call a trusted friend, someone that you feel safe with to do that. But no, I mean, if you're just pulling a random card pull for the day, you're feeling great and everything's going well and you get a Three of Swords, don't panic. No, you don't need to go cry in the bathtub for 17 hours, but be prepared for the fact that there may be some things that pop up for you in that day that are going to open you to some healing and invite you into a space of self-love and self-care.
Maybe, but also maybe just check your group chat. Drama is a brewing.
100%. 100%. Actually, Three of Cups usually is about the drama and the gossip and all that kind of stuff. Three of Swords is the damage that we can do to ourselves and our minds. Words hurt, words cut. And sometimes we just have to remove those words or those memories from the heart space in order for the heart to heal.
I'm gonna pull one of your numbers because psychically, I want, even though that was the last one, I want to do this one because it just makes me think of you, and I don't know why.
Okay.
Your cards know all your secrets, especially the ones you thought nobody saw. The Moon card might be side eyeing your midnight snack habits.
Oh my God, that is so true. I'm trying to get back on track right now with my eating. So yes, my cards definitely know my secrets. Well, you know what I'm going to say to you? Myth busting the metaphysical. I'm going to say to you, actually, that's true. Is your cards, when you do develop a relationship with them, everything's energy. When you're working with a deck of cards and you are connecting with that deck, that energy is connected to your energy. That's going to speak to you. And yes, your tarot, I can't tell you how many times I've got something else that I'm thinking about. And I'm like, I don't want to fucking ask that question because I don't really want to know the answer to that question. I won't think about that today. I'll think about that tomorrow. And I ask, 3 other questions, and every single card pull that I get is answering the question that I don't want to ask. So I'm going to say to you, myth busting the metaphysical, that one isn't a myth. That one is actually truth. So, that's another reason why, and not everyone is sort of obsessed with tarot and oracle cards the way that I am. I just love them so much. And each of them, I have a different relationship with each of them. Each of them has their own language with me and different flair and different flavor and different energy. So, like there are certain decks where if I want truth delivered in a gentle way, I'll pull one deck over another. If I want, if there's something that I just need like clear cut, direct, boom, then I might go to, a different deck. So it's all in that, I want to say that relationship building. But if you just have one deck, absolutely, your cards are going to speak to you because the cards are the tool that allows your guides and your intuition to be able to give you a visual. That's why we go to it, because we get so confused. We're like, I have this question and I'm so confused in my head that I'm not able to get clarity around what the actual answer is or what is the best option for me at this time. The cards help to give you a visual of that. So there we go. We just did the opposite of what we're supposed to do on myth busting the metaphysical, but there it is. That one is true. This is a segment that is all for my fellow starseeds, light workers, sensitives, healers, empaths. Get into my happy place and channel one of the archangels. We are going to pull a feather from the feather jar and let's see what the energies wanting us to know. We are talking about the psychic realm. Color is yet another tool that can help us. This is really all about going beyond the predictiveness of readings. Hello all, Stacey the Black Feather Intuitive, and welcome to Playing with the Universe. Up-level your co-creation. 2025 is bringing in the fire fast, so I'm here to help us all focus our energies to up-leveling our manifesting game. It is time to make use of this energy that is here for us. We now know the game, and we've seen behind the curtain, so there are no excuses to creating and living a life that we choose. Let's get to it. If you like what you see here, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. It really helps to get the guidance out there, and feel free to share this video with anyone you feel could benefit from this type of support. So this week, let's create artistic flow. What does artistic flow mean for you? And take a moment now to connect with the energy of that artistic flow in your body. Where are you feeling it? And for those of you who are going to say, I don't have an artistic bone in my body, I'm going to call BS on that, because we all do. Just notice when you say those words where you feel it in the body. And where in your life would you like to have more of that artistic flow? Where do you feel it could benefit you the most? Is there anyone in your life that you would really enjoy experiencing that artistic flow with? And it doesn't have to be in the obvious ways. We're not talking about necessarily you becoming the painter or the potterer. This is the artistic flow that can help you in every area of your life. Being artistic in your relationships, being artistic within your community, being artistic about your work production. And if you could attach an emotion or a sensation to the topic of artistic flow, what would it be? And don't be surprised if you are someone that, feels a bit uncomfortable around it. I know as a child, I made in shop class, I'm giving away my age now, but in shop class, I made this paintbrush notebook for my mother. And my mother made fun of it when she received it. And she wasn't intending necessarily to shut me down. She was just a little unaware. But it gave me the impression that I did not have artistic ability. And it shut me down for a long time. So you might be feeling an uncomfortability around that in your body. So don't judge it, just notice it. And with that emotion or sensation that you've attached to the topic, when was the last time that you experienced that? When was the last time you felt that? Because in our visualization today, you're going to want to either transmute that, change it up, or you're going to want to go into a space and a place where you can magnify it, you can magnetize it, you can expand it. All right, let's connect and experience with this sensation. Close your eyes and connect with your breath. And visualize yourself in the center of a beautiful meadow. And this meadow has every color you could possibly imagine. It could take you days to identify each of the shades of all of the colors that are there. And I want you to, in your mind's eye or using your imagination or just knowing that you're doing it, I want you to create a bouquet. And this bouquet is going to be unique to you. And it's a bouquet that you are creating for the artist within you. And so take some time to walk around the meadow. There's every kind of flower and weed and everything in between. And go with your first instinct, your first intuition on the flowers. And remember that this is a gift to the artist within. And you might choose a smaller bouquet that you're creating. You might make a couple of different ones because you like the different varieties of flowers. You may choose to create one giant bouquet with all sorts of different colors and flowers and all the accoutrements. What do you think your artist would enjoy? And gather it all up. And I'm going to hand you a beautiful satin ribbon. And you get to choose the color. And you're going to tie this beautiful satin ribbon around this bouquet. And this ribbon comes with a little note card. And I want you to write a little note to your artist. Just a few words, maybe expressing how you'd like to connect with your artist, maybe words of gratitude,
maybe an invitation to connect uniquely in the coming days and weeks. And now visualize or imagine or just know that you are going deep into your soul space. And this is where your artist resides. And you're knocking on the door and you're presenting this bouquet. And notice what joy it brings to your artist when they open up that door and they receive your lovely gift of color. Their joy becomes your joy. Feel into that energy. And maybe you even give your inner artist a big hug. And so now you're both in each other's energies. And it's elevating all of those feelings and emotions. Okay, now really soak in all of that feeling. And I want you to store it in your heart space. And you make plans to connect with your inner artist. It's a date. And you close the door behind you, and now you can come back into the room. Oh, I love this one. I got chills. My arm hairs were standing up. So here is our challenge, a way to play with the universe throughout the week to see where and how it shows up in your world. Sometimes we feel really stuck. I know that for me, I've run into situations in the past where I'm a super highly creative being, and no matter what I do, it's like there's zero flow. Whenever this happens, it's important that I acknowledge that maybe I need a little bit of a break. Maybe my body needs to recharge a little bit before I get into that flow space. But once I give myself that break and that space, I like to connect with an activity that challenges me in a way that I am not necessarily comfortable with. For example, I happen to have some OCD issues when it comes to putting my hand in things. I don't like to get my hands messy and dirty, and it just kind of creeps me out. So when I need to challenge myself and I'm really wanting to open to that creative flow, I do finger painting. Or I will cook a recipe that requires me to have to put my hands into something that I need to mix up. It may sound crazy, but it works like a charm because I'm faced with the blocks to my creativity. And it gives me an opportunity to make the choice to move beyond those blocks. So this week, I encourage you to do some finger painting or find an activity that causes you a bit of discomfort at the idea. And this is not about doing something that is causing you harm or is going to be a trigger point for you, of course, but it is where you're doing something that is physically getting your hands into something tangible. This opens up that artistic flow. And for those of you who don't think that you're very artistic at all, you absolutely are. And even if you just put pen to paper and you do scribbles to music that you're listening to, that is going to activate your flow. So go and flow. Our affirmation for this week is a really simple one. I want you to put your one hand on the heart, one hand on the soul space. Breathe this in. Creative energy flows through me effortlessly. I'm going to say it 2 more times and you just breathe that in. Creative energy flows through me effortlessly. And 1 more time. Creative energy flows through me effortlessly. Feel free to keep me updated here in the comments on your game this week. And remember to always add a dash of joy and playfulness to each of these experiences. But that's our co-creation for this week. As with meditation, where 2 or more are gathered in energetic communion for a common goal, the effect is multiplied exponentially. We are all in this together, and that is our commonality. Now go play. Transform well. This is a segment that is all for my fellow starseeds, light workers, sensitives, healers, empaths. Get into my happy place and channel one of the archangels. are going to pull a feather from the feather jar and let's see what the energies wanting us to know. We are talking about the psychic realm. Color is yet another tool that can help us. This is really all about going beyond the predictiveness of readings